We voted for MVP. We voted for the All-Pro team. We voted for everything. I was stunned that Lamar Jackson, the Ravens quarterback, was the first-team All-Pro quarterback and not the MVP, when the MVP is instead quarterback Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. That is a tough needle to thread, and neither of us even tried. I went Lamar for both. You went Josh Allen for both.
No, exactly right. I thought Josh Allen was the MVP this year. I thought Josh Allen had more moments, right? I don't think anybody's more valuable to their football team than Josh Allen. You've heard me say that. I no disrespect to Lamar Jackson. I think he's one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. I know how awesome he is. But again, when we get into what I do think about moments, it's hard to come up with the moments for Lamar Jackson, let alone his team, I think, was far superior than the Buffalo Bills. And there's no Zay Flowers on Buffalo. There's no Mark Andrews on Buffalo. There's no Derrick Henry on Buffalo. So, but to the main point of this conversation, I, like you, almost fell out of my freaking bed last night when Josh Allen got announced. I was like, wait, I literally turned up the volume and I was like, is this the MVP award or is this another award? Like, I thought I might have missed something while I was looking at my phone for a second. So I did not remember 87 with Elway and Montana happening like this. To me, yes, it was definitely a big surprise. And I do kind of lump if you're the MVP at quarterback, then you're the first team All-Pro. I do, but there is some interesting conversation out there, I think, that I can certainly see the other side.
Well, and Chris is referring to the 1987 season, strike-shortened replacement games. Joe Montana had an incredible year, but John Elway was the MVP. And the sport wasn't covered then the way it is now. They didn't have an award show. That's only been around for like 14 years. So it's a much bigger deal now. People bet on it now, which makes it an even bigger deal than it ever was.
Right.
And there's been a trend, there's been a pattern, and I've been making the case to hold the All-Pro teams until after they do the awards, because nobody cares. I mean, I know, I'm just saying, I got to find out the All-Pro teams.
Agreed.
You got to tell me the Friday after the regular season
Let
ends.
alone we all think, like, when the All-Pro came out, I've been telling everybody, well, Lamar's the MVP. Lamar's the MVP. Right.
Well, maybe it's a nice little okey-doke.
It is a good okey-doke, yeah.
But what I'm having trouble doing is making this argument that you can be the best quarterback but not the MVP if the MVP is a quarterback, because I think you're necessarily the best quarterback. And I know it comes down to how you define valuable.
I know.
But the argument that Josh Allen didn't have all that help, that makes him a better quarterback.
Yeah.
That makes his performance even better relative to Lamar's. And I've got no problem with you coming to your conclusion about Josh Allen.
Sure.
I came to mine about Lamar Jackson.
I got no problem with yours and theirs.
I hope that people who were stumped didn't decide, I'll split the baby.
Yeah.
I don't know which guy to put all the eggs in his basket, so I'm going to put one egg here and I'm going to put one egg here.
Right.
I don't think that's the right way to do it. You got to have conviction, and you can't just say, I'm going to find a way to cut this in half.
Right.
Have conviction and give one guy winner take all.
Listen, I agree with you. I mean, that's how I voted. So, I mean, I think we're on the same page. I will say, though, the conversation for the other way, I did hear some good points. One of them was by one of our, James Kaminsky, who helps us out with the show and Football Night in America and Here Today, right? And because he's listening to all this stuff. So I was kind of like leaning on him, like, what are those people saying that they went, one was all pro and the other one's the MVP? And I do think, like, the points I've heard, I'm not going to say they're totally wrong here. Right? Some of the things I've heard is, hey, we think Lamar played quarterback the best, but nobody was more valuable to their team than Josh Allen. And I can understand that. So Lamar, we know it was an all-time season with what he did, statistics, what their offense did statistically. It's one of the greatest offenses in the history of the NFL. And I get that. So people may be thinking, hey, he played quarterback the right way, and he should lead the All-Pro team, but nobody was more valuable to their team than Josh Allen. His stats might not match up to it, but the Bills don't go to the playoffs without Josh Allen, where it's like the Ravens, you feel like, I still think, like we saw Tyler Huntley have the Bengals on the ropes 2 years ago in the playoffs, where they're about to go up by 2 touchdowns, and they fumbled the quarterback sneak, remember, and all that? So from that, not that I totally agree with all that, I can at least digest some of that stuff and go, okay, I can understand that side of the story and where that's coming from.
The other trend that we saw disrupted last night, it was the first time since Adrian Peterson, the Vikings running back, became the MVP in 2012, that it wasn't a quarterback from a team that earned a bye.
Yeah.
Every year from 2013 until 2024-23, the MVP came from a team who earned a bye, and it was that team's starting quarterback. And under that formula, it would have been Patrick Mahomes or Jared Goff. If we can put the voting back up, Mahomes got some votes. Mahomes was on some of these 5 deep ballots. His numbers were not good, but this gets back to value. If you take Mahomes out of the equation in Kansas City, they ain't 15-2.
Of course not. I mean, Mahomes it's become an outlier. Mahomes has officially hit the Michael Jordan Belichick part of his career, where it's just like, who's the best player in football? We all know everybody's taking Mahomes. That's not a discussion. I don't think that's even a thing. So that's what stinks about it for Mahomes a little bit, is maybe he doesn't get the credit he deserves because it's just like so every year, ho-hum. But I can tell you, with my MVP voting, I definitely had these top 3 right there, Allen, Jackson, Barkley. I believe I might have made Jamar Chase. I went Burrow and Jamar Chase to round out my group there.
I did Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Jared Goff, Joe Burrow.
Okay.
And this dynamic of splitting the vote, like Joe Burrow got 2 first-place All-Pro quarterback votes, and he got no first-place MVP votes.
Yeah.
So to me,
odd year.
It's an exercise in mental gymnastics that I'm not capable of even attempting. I think that you're both or you're neither. Now, one of the other things, too, and this really was a surprise, and I don't want to go too far behind the curtain, and we need to wrap this up because we got more interviews coming up, but the Associated Press just kind of deciding to put everyone's name out there with everyone's vote for all of the awards, and I'm big on transparency. Last year, I put out all my votes, and I put out all my votes last night, and then after I posted, it's like, oh, no, the AP put them out there, too, and they put them out there for every award. And I went back and looked at the welcome email that we get when we accept our spot on the panel for the year, and there's nothing in there. And they supposedly inadvertently omitted the sentence saying we might put your votes out there. And I have no problem with it, because somebody asked me today, how do you reconcile saying you want transparency, but they should have told us? Well, they should have told us.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because
you should always tell.
He and I live in the world where we get trolled, we're trending, we get doxxed, whatever the case may be. We accept that. There may be people on that panel
that don't
at
want
least
that.
would like to be able to say, before I'm the – because how do you vote your conscience if you know there's a chance my conscience is going to go against these folks
the public's
who are going to
crap on me and get all over me and get all over
you do it.
Right, come at me in all these different ways because how could you vote for that? And I don't know if everybody signed up for that, so they need to tell. But, I don't care. You
they
don't
have
care.
now.
Yeah.
They now know.
But we're not that way. Yeah, we're all about transparency. You always put your stuff out. I talk about it on my podcast, so I think we're maybe a little different that way. But, I think if they're going to run the operation the right way, they need to make sure the voters know that, hey, what you put out there, radio stations, people like Simms and Florio are going to talk about it, and if you do too much dumb crap, you might hear about it on this, on social media.
For us, it literally is same shit, different day.
Right.
Because we know when you create the content that we create, and most of it is extemporaneous, all of it's unscripted. We just have topics that guide us. We say what we believe. We are who we are.
It's like what Dion said. We work hard, but we're trying to inform, and we keep it real.
Yeah,
that should be our commercial for the show. We should use Dion.
The people we love the most in this sport are the people who are authentic. And I was thinking about it earlier. There's not some big principled reason why I'm authentic. It's too hard to try to be somebody other than who you are.
London. Yeah.
Imagine how we're not live.
I know. Well,
but imagine how hard it would be to walk around through life pretending to be someone other than who you are. I got enough stuff to worry about.
It's my number one thing I tell people, because people sometimes go, how are you so honest all the time? And I go, I'm not smart enough to remember all my bullshit, so I can't do it. I'm not that smart.
Try.
So the hell with that, and I'm just going to shoot it straight, because I've been in those situations as a young man or a teenager where you tried to BS, and then you get into another conversation, you're like, oh no, I've BS'd about both things here. What do I say? say now because this person kind of knows a little bit of both. So, yeah, it's that's just not who you and I are.
Sometimes we accidentally let our bullshit get twisted up, and we can contradict ourselves because we've changed our mind, but it's never what we say. We believe wholeheartedly when we are saying it. We might believe something different tomorrow.
Sometimes things change as far as you learn something. You get to see 5 more games, and you go, wait, what I thought about that team, they've kind of corrected it. They've made it better. So, gosh, it's not a black and white business all the way there. And it's, humans who are getting better, changing, evolving, taking coaching, all that. So, yeah, opinions will change from time to time.
It's just a matter of time before they take my vote, but I'm still going to say what I believe. And I think
You're not saying
knew
anything
that.
wrong.
They knew that when they –
Right.
I'm going to say it anyway. They may as well at least bring me inside the big top and let me join the circus.
Yeah.
And I'm still going to say what I'm going to say, but maybe it won't be quite as pointed as it would be if I was on the outside firing arrows at the process.
Because
I have a feeling if I wasn't a voter, it probably would have been a little more aggressive.
That's right. Keep your friends close. Keep your enemies closer on this one.
Probably would have gone a little too far. All right, we've gone too far with the subject. There'll be more from New Orleans. And all of the interviews we've done this week, over 40 in all. Do we get paid extra this week?
I thought I saw a piece of my contract that said once you go over 15, you get an extra million. I think so.
I think we need to unionize. I think we're going to upset our boss by saying that, but I think we need to have this discussion.
You hear that, Sam Flood?
We'll be back. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.